Just gone 8:30 Sunday night from Planet Rock. 30 years ago, over 2 weekends in August 1979, thousands of fans came to pay homage to Led Zeppelin as they performed what would turn out to be their last UK shows at Nebworth. I'm thrilled to say that tonight we're joined by Dave Lewis, who is respected throughout the world as a leading Led Zeppelin expert. He's been the editor of the long-running Led Zeppelin magazine Tight But Loose, has published several books on the band, and is about to publish his new book, Then As It Was, which is all about those Nebworth shows. Dave, it's lovely to welcome you to Planet Rock. Thanks for giving up some time on a Sunday night. Your credentials in terms of how much you know about Led Zeppelin and how close you were to Led Zeppelin. You were one of those who was really approved, not just by the band, but more importantly by their legendary manager, the late Peter Grant. You were kind of in the inner sanctum of that, weren't you?
Well, I guess I was to a point. Yeah, I mean, I first heard the music of Led Zeppelin in 1969, and the effect has been a lasting one. I was 13 years old. I was listening to Pig of the Pops, and Alan Freeman, good old Fluff, played a whole lot of love, and it was like nothing I'd heard since, and I just needed to hear more, and I certainly did do. I was lucky. I saw the band first in 1971, Wembley Empire Pool, then 1972. It got to a point where if Led Zeppelin were playing a gig, I was going to be there. So when they did the Earls Court shows, I did all of those, and lucky enough, I got backstage, and I began to build a bit of a rapport up. It was pretty evident that Led Zeppelin didn't have a fan club or anything like it. I mean, it wasn't, that wasn't for Led Zeppelin, that was for the Osmonds. So I just felt there was some sort of connection that the fans could have, and I came up with the idea of this fanzine, which I called Tight But Loose. Ironically, it was built on the sort of principles of the punk fanzines of the day, which is pretty ironic, but I kicked it off, did a first issue, sold very well, and away we went. And I was very lucky. I had a good relationship with their record label, Swan Song. And I think certainly Peter Grant saw that it was pretty genuine. It was just a fans thing, and it was for all the right reasons. It certainly wasn't sex, drugs and rock and roll. So I just think the connection I made with the fans, and obviously trying to open up their world in a world where, in terms of the media, they were pretty restrictive. I just think they felt it was a good thing, and it certainly struck lucky.
And you were there on those 2 weekends in August 1979. You were, and I hate saying this, you were just 22 years old at the time. I was slightly older, but you were there, you saw it all, you wrote a review in Tight But Loose. But tell us about this book. Why did you write the book? Did you not find that, in a sense, writing about just 2 gigs, which is what they did you not find that slightly restricting?
Well, not with Led Zeppelin, no, because nothing was restricting with Led Zeppelin, as we read. I think I wanted to do something this year, it's 30th anniversary, and I was looking to do something probably in my magazine. And, I'd gathered quite a lot of material, a lot of sort of source material, but it seemed to me it needed something more substantial because it was such a big thing in a lot of people's lives. If you asked many people in the UK if they saw Led Zeppelin, if they did, chances are it was at Nebworth. 100,000 people first week, a lot of people, the second week. So I found it needed more than that. And when I did, through our website, I asked for people's memories, and the response was fantastic. And I quickly realised that Nebworth does mean a lot of things to a lot of people, and I think it was a lot of people's first gig, and the stories coming through were just fantastic. They were rites of passage, they were kids going on long bloody coach journeys, and all to see this, the whole sort of Gods of Rock thing, because it was the only chance a lot of people got to see Led Zeppelin. At that point, Led Zeppelin were incredibly big. They hadn't played in the UK for 4 years. The onset of punk was changing things. The musical climate was very different when they'd played last in England. So there was a whole story in that. So a lot of good angles to go from, and the book sort of took on a life of its own.
And the book essentially is the fans' memories, isn't it, Dave?
That's the centrepiece of it. It's 38 stories about how these people got to the gig, how they enjoyed the gig. I think everybody who went to Nebworth came away with a story. I certainly did, and 38 of those say I was there, and you've got so many different sort of views. There's a great story about a guy who came, he's 16-year-old, he's on the campsite, he keeps hearing the cry, Wally. Now, in rock festivals, people who'd been there for a while and were pretty seasoned knew what that was about. He thought it was the title of maybe Led Zeppelin's new album or a new drug, and, I just thought the innocence of it all, really touched people, and that's what the book's about. It's about, I think, a whole lot of simple times, not like it is now. It wasn't a corporate event. It was a very simple time, and it was the last great British rock gatherings, really. So, to document that, I felt was really important.
Over the years, though, Robert has not been that complimentary about their performance at Nebworth. I mean, he has said it wasn't one of their greatest.
I think he has said that, but I think the attitudes changed much more when they did their DVD in 2003, and they got to see, the multi-track camera angles, and Jimmy mixed it really well. And I think all three of them, when they first saw that, must have realised the power that was still evident in the band at Nebworth. And I think the attitude certainly changed. There's certainly some good quotes from Plant about that footage. And I think in the end, Nebworth was seen for what it was. It wasn't the greatest of comebacks in terms, of the way they played, because they were very nervous. They hadn't played anywhere for 2 years, Mm-hmm. But I think it was the first sort of step back to them becoming a real band again. And they'd had a lot of problems, which at the time, no other band had gone through that. It was unprecedented what they went through. The fact that they took it to their audience again and wanted to be Led Zeppelin again and wanted to have that acclaim, I think was a fantastic thing. And I think, sort of looking back 30 years on, when I wrote that piece that I wrote for my magazine, it is a bit rose-tinted glasses, but the fact is, when it was good at Nebworth, it was very good indeed, and better than most other bands still.
Mm-hmm. And there was also that political thing that was going on sort of behind the scenes. I remember coming off stage after the first weekend, and going into one of the porter cabins of the production office, and there was this huge row going on between Peter Grant, Led Zeppelin's manager, and Freddie Bannister, who was the promoter of the event. And I kind of walked in on this, and really Peter was being, quite verbally aggressive, and I thought, oh, sorry, and sort of, dashed out again. But at the second weekend, Freddie Bannister was not really the promoter, was he, by the second weekend? That all changed.
Well, I think, as with any Led Zeppelin, sort of event, there's always controversy, and there was controversy regarding the ticket sales, which years later, when I talked to Peter Grant, he still said that he felt there was more in there that first week than they took the ticket sales on, and they had that aerial picture blown up, and there's all that story. Freddie, on the other hand, says that he was right, and there was less people there the second week. It's a difficult one because we're talking about a lot of big business at the time, and obviously huge amounts of money being involved. Peter Grant was fiercely protecting, his major asset, and I think he always was going to do that. Freddie was trying to do the best he can. It's a difficult one. It's not something I harp on too much in the book, because Freddie's had his say in his book, and there's been other books that have certainly, chronicled that. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, there certainly was things behind, backstage that were going on that were pretty unsavoury, but that was like a lot of little situations that happened with Zeppelin. So I wasn't really surprised when that all happened.
I think my abiding memory is just of a wonderful couple of weekends. I mean, it was just something that will always stay with me. And as you say, this book has got other memories from the fans who were there. When's it being published, and how can we get our hands on a copy?
Okay, it's published on August the 8th, and you can get it from the website tbl.com. It's also been launched on August the 8th at Nebworth at a pub called the Lytton Arms, and if you want to go to that, again, you just need to visit the website and find out the details. But it's a few weeks off, but really looking forward to it.
Okay, so the official release is at the Lytton Arms, which is in Old Nebworth.
That's right.
August the 8th from 3:30 till 11. The book is published in limited edition. It's going to be £20 plus postage, and you can get details from Dave Lewis's website, which is www.tblweb, that's TBL, type but loose, web.com. Dave, it's been very good seeing you after all of these years.
Indeed.
And I wish you the very best of luck with the book.
Thank you very much.